Kevin Cassidy here with AmateurGolf.com. We're here with John Yerger, co-chairman of the Sunnehanna Amateur. You know, you guys have been doing lots to prepare for this tournament. How do you think this week is going to go?
Well, unfortunately, we may have another issue with weather, just as the U.S. Open is having to deal with. But I mean, I think the bottom line is we've got a phenomenal field. Course right now playing firm and fast, and if we do get water, the course is, I think, fairly well prepared to deal with it. And you know, we're going to have a 72-hole championship this year, that's for sure.
So you know, there's a great field this year. Lots of competitive players out here. What do you think is going to be, the true test out there for these players?
I think the bottom line is patience, and I think the big difference between these players and tour players is just that word. They're not used to being patient. They're used to shooting at distance. This course requires, playing shots from the right angles and making sure the ball especially stays below the hole.
So when you're putting out the pins out there and you're changing up the tees throughout the week, what are the main tests for these players in terms of shots that you have to make? I think a lot of times these guys think that the further you hit it and the closer you get to the green, the better off you are. With these greens, they're old style. These course we have a lot of fall-away greens where the green works away from the player. So half shots are much more difficult than full shots. So by using front pins, in many cases, while it may make the course shorter, they're also harder pins to get at. So in some cases, I'm trying to encourage the player to say, hey, rather than play driver, let's play further back, give myself a fuller shot. And many of them, that's just not the way they think. So I'm trying to take advantage of their weaknesses. Is there, a target score you're trying to get when you're setting up these pins?
Absolutely not. I mean, the bottom line is again, our course is just around 6,900 yards long, par 70, so it's not particularly long. I think, the bottom line is if you have soft greens or greens that are receptive to shots and smooth greens, they're going to shoot low scores. So it's no reflection on the course. It's a reflection on their play, and we want to see great play, and we want to see good champions. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely going to be a great week out here, no matter what the weather's like. I took some drone footage this week, and it's going to look pretty great. Why don't you take us through the course and hole by hole and see, how the fans at home can see the strategy for the course.
Well, the first hole, I think for those that have a view, you can see the view you have. I think that's the most compelling thing about the hole. It's generally a fairly short hole, not particularly challenging, with a little small false front and a green that slopes somewhat from back to front. They're going to have generally a wedge into the green. Again, like many things on our course, it's going to be the greens that are going to make the difference. But I think, all in all, a drive placed in the fairway is going to leave an opportunity for birdie on the first hole. It's I think, a generous starting hole and a gentle way to start a round of golf with a great view as well. Number 2 is a terrific par 4, dogleg right up the hill. Significant amount of slope up the hill to a green that has a significant amount of slope from back to front. A good drive while made in the fairway leaves for some uneven lies. So even though you're hitting an uphill iron shot, it's a very difficult shot to a green with with a false front. So it is a very demanding hole and a terrific golf hole. I think it just goes to show the genius of Tillinghast. This hole plays into the prevailing wind, and for Sunnehanna is an atypical Tillinghast course. And if you look at his design philosophies, many times his shortest holes played into the wind, longest holes played downwind. Sunnehanna plays exactly the opposite of that. The 5th hole, we have a green here that is almost 40 deep, plays at 215, but as I said, we have the second largest greens in western Pennsylvania. The only greens larger are Oakmont, which I think many of the viewers are familiar with. The green slopes significantly from left to right, which does diminish to some extent some of the pin placements, but we'll play this hole anywhere from 170 yards to 215 yards, depending on the pin, and obviously moving the tees. We don't want the players to have to, play the same distance every day. We want to have a variety of shots and give them a chance to, test themselves with different shots as well. So we don't want it to be a boring experience. The 8th hole, this hole has a pretty special place in the tournament's history. It's not nearly as demanding as it once was. This shot through the chute used to put the fear of God in players and cost many players championships, but also some legendary shots from Crenshaw hit it in the gully and actually made par from the woods. there's a tree that protects the right side of the green, which requires the player to be in the left quadrant of the fairway. If you're not, then you must play away from the tree and to some extent, and you leave yourself between a 25 and 30-foot putt. One of the goals when we do the setup for the golf course is to give every player, if they're patient, an opportunity for a 20-foot putt uphill. It's the players are going to get in trouble, not so much on the 8th hole, but in general on the rest of the course, if you put the ball above the pin. Number 6, again, somewhat like number 2, but not as much slope. Again, trouble on the right-hand side. The hole plays back into a prevailing wind with a green that slopes significantly from back to front. Again, we play back into the prevailing wind. It's all about where you locate the ball on the green. Again, it's almost 40, I think it's 42 deep. So you have a significant amount of variety in terms of distance just because of the nature of the green itself and the amount of slope. Pin placements can anywhere be in the front right, which is very difficult, to the back left, which is just very hard for these guys to get at. So, again, the greens are the chief defense of the golf course. 15th hole is about a 610-yard par 5, pardon me, that goes from right to left. Originally it was a double dog leg, and I think the goal here is to eventually return this. The second shot, it plays again back into the wind. The key thing here is a poorly placed drive may bring into a cross bunker into play that intersects the fairway, depending on from the right to left. It's almost a 35 or 40-yard cross bunker. The green slopes again from right to left. Balls that do get over the cross bunker will leave an open approach shot, but again, as I said, the green slopes significantly from right to left. Balls left above the hole will leave a putt it moves significantly from left to right. Pin balls that are on the right side of the green move either left to right or right to left. But again, the key thing here is you're generally going to get putts that aren't straight but have break. And I think it's a lot of players aren't, you keep trying to make putts that have to play right edge, left edge. It wears guys out. It's not easier. The green is fast, but it's the amount of break that makes the real big difference for these guys with shorter putts. The 16th green, one thing about great about our courses are the par 3s. There's a variety of lengths and distances and also angles. This green has a significant amount of slope from back to front, which creates some pin placement issues. And we actually try to keep this green slower than other greens for the rest of the tournament. But as you can see, the front half of the green we try to avoid just because of the amount of slope. The approach shot is played in a wind that comes out of the left with a green that slopes that way as well. So balls above the pin here are just a poorly played golf shot. You can, if you're patient, you don't force the shot, you're going to have a decent putt. But again, it's a very demanding green to putt. And I think that's the story of our golf course in terms of these players. Patience and putting in the right position on the greens. 17 is a fairway that slopes significantly from right to left, and the green that slopes significantly from right to left. Balls in the right that remain on the right side of the fairway require a shot over a green side bunker to a green that slopes significantly, as I said earlier, from right to left. The key thing here is making sure the ball ends up in the left side of the fairway. The left rough here is very, very penal. Shots can be played short of the green and rolled up, but as I said, there is a significant amount of slope which many of the viewers can't appreciate from the angles that they see.
Thanks, John, for giving us, a little background on the course with the flyovers. I hope everybody at home just gets a better idea of what these conditions are like and how these guys have to play this course. We'll see you throughout the week. Check in with us on Facebook at amateurgolf.com. Thanks for everybody at Sunnehanna Country Club. It's going to be a great week out there.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to Pete Ledowski and Kevin Cassidy and folks at amateurgolf.com. I mean, it's great to be able to work with them in a partnership. This is great for amateur golf, and I hope that we can have a long-term relationship that it adds to the viewers and the readers experiencing, have a greater understanding of what these tournaments mean to American amateur golf. So thanks for being here.
Awesome.